For over a decade, Kickstarter has been at the forefront of creative funding, serving as the world's largest platform for innovative projects. Since its inception in 2009, millions have flocked to the platform in support of everything from film and music projects to cutting-edge tech gadgets and video games. However, not all projects on Kickstarter have lived up to their promises. In recent years, the platform has faced mounting scrutiny over the growing number of scams that threaten to undermine the platform's credibility and future. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at how these scams are carried out, and the consequences they have for backers, the platform, and the gaming industry. Join me as we explore the dark side of Kickstarter and the fight to restore trust in crowdfunding. Kickstarter has become a very popular platform for indie game developers to bring their games to life. Although some of these indie game visionaries have taken advantage of Kickstarter and its otherwise amazing community. I'm sure you have heard of a game that has sounded amazing to you, the game of your dreams even. And then silence. Where did it go? Well, that's what happened for me. Yes, that's right, I fell for one of these scams. The game was called Identity. The developers promised a world of freedom and the ability to own anything. This was far from its reality though. The developers promised a 2016 release of the fully functioning game. Yet all backers ever received was a town square with limited functionality in 2018. And that was the last update that we ever got for this so-called game. The studio behind this cash grab is Asylum Entertainment. They made a Kickstarter campaign, and during their short time on the platform, they raised over $139,000. 4,200 people had their money taken and were left high and dry. You may be thinking to yourself, well, this is only one example. Mansion Lord, Project Phoenix, Unwritten, and Yogg Ventures are all games that promised amazing experiences, but never got very far from the Kickstarter campaign itself. You may be wondering how the developers got away with this. Well, most of the campaign pages were worded in a very specific way. They were designed to deceive. For example, with Identity, they promised to release the game in modules, of course starting with the town square, which they did release. This is where they took advantage. In the Kickstarter campaign, they pledged that they would release the town square module, and everyone assumed that they would release the others as well. This assumption was powered by its trailer that came along with the Kickstarter campaign. The game looked very well along the development way. However, it seems that this was all just a setup to deceive its backers. I've been mentioning Kickstarter a lot, although Kickstarter isn't to blame. Crowdfunding as a whole has a large impact on the gaming community. There are many different platforms along with their very own scam story. Unfortunately, the legal world is full of people wiggling their way through loopholes. Because of all the money that people have lost to crowdfunding, people have begun to no longer trust this concept. However, there is some praise to give to Kickstarter and other large platforms. Most have implemented policies that force developers to produce what they have pledged. Kickstarter specifically has very clear terms of service page stating what they can and cannot do. Also, they have many pages on their site about the rules and regulations. For a platform that has helped fund over $7 billion, this is a good thing. However, it is sad that crowdfunding has been taken advantage of. Many honest people with great ideas have been impacted by these scams, not only financially, but the overall trust of indie studios. It seems that many feel that funding a game is a major risk compared to just pre-ordering it on Steam. The industry as a whole has been plagued with the stigma that it can't be trusted. It's truly sad that just a couple bad actors could cause such impact on such a massive industry. However, on a more positive note, developers have been forced to be more open and transparent about their development. Many developers have started making devlogs and community updates, which is allowing for more hype to grow, as well as building a community around the game. If anything, this transparency is helping developers. Star Citizen is one of the many games that have benefited. Although I wouldn't say it's an indie game, it is a game that has been crowdfunded, and now posts weekly updates about the progress of the project. For a long time, Star Citizen was thought to be included among these scam games. But with transparency and an open beta, they have moved away from that label. I think it is very important to be transparent, especially when you are dealing with others' money. I believe this concept is being applied to development more and more with each project. People are starting to point out when a game feels fishy, or when the developers aren't being totally honest. The most recent example of this is The Day Before. I'm sure many of you have seen this on your homepage, or a ton of YouTubers talking about it. I'm getting tired of hearing about this game, but it's shining a light directly on the face of the developers and forcing them to release updates. It seems that everyone in the gaming community is working together to try and protect each other. It's really good to see. So you found an indie game that you want to support. Well, what can you do to stop from being scammed? I believe that there's only 4 things that you really have to do. Don't worry about taking notes, I'm going to put them up on the screen. First, check the creator's profile. Look for information about their background, experience, and previous campaigns. If this creator has a history of successful campaigns, it's a good sign. Second, read through the comments section. See what other backers have to say about the campaign and the creator. If you see a lot of negative comments, this is a big red flag. Third, look at the goals and rewards. Are they realistic and achievable? If not, it could be the sign of a scam. And fourth, check the video and images. Do they show actual gameplay or just concept art? A lack of actual gameplay footage could indicate that the game isn't real. Always be cautious and do your research before making a pledge. While there have been a lot of scams around crowdfunding, I don't think that we should give up on it. It allows creators to build a business and most of the time their dream. We need to all be on the lookout for these scam games and report them if we get that gut feeling. It seems that Kickstarter and other platforms are trying their best to provide a safe space, but I guess as long as humans are interacting with other humans, that will never exist.